comfortable, you legs?
I'm fine, yeah.
For 30 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How was your day today, Rico?
It was good. Woke up. Me and Ashley watched church together, and we just relaxed for the rest of the day. Did some homework. Knocked out some homework. Finishing the semester strong.
Oh, it is exam week around this time, isn't it?
Yeah, gotta do a lot of studying.
Stressful.
More so her.
Right.
Because she's, I guess I have senioritis, but she's a little bit more stressed out than I am.
Okay. Well, just to kind of go back to, I just wanted curious to know if you and Ashley were able to discuss some of what we talked about in the previous session, as far as what you want from a relationship, what she might possibly want. Did you talk about that at all, as far as what we talked about with her?
We talked a little bit, and she kind of got upset because I asked her. I was like, well, tell me what it is that you want, as far as like where do you see us going? And she got upset because she thought that we were on the same page. She thought that this was already like planned out. It was assured where I thought we were going to go, and she thought that our thoughts were the same. So she was just upset that I even had to ask.
So where did she think that you guys were at mutually?
Well, it was more so what we're going to be at. She was okay, and she, expressed how ultimately we would like to be together physically. And as of right now, we would be together, financially set. We would have our own jobs and hopefully living in the same house. Versus like being two separate places, trying to get an apartment, paying rent, whatever the case may be. She wants to be like right here, right now. And even though school's still in the mix, that's the only reason why we're not where we can be. But then again, I still have basketball, so it kind of makes things different, because I think that that's going to create some type of distance between us, and she doesn't do well with that.
Right.
And I'm learning that as we go on, because the more talks I have about leaving, the more upset she becomes. And I told her, I was like, I don't receive the excitement that I should be receiving from my significant other when an opportunity to play overseas comes up, because she's looking at it like this is an opportunity that you're gonna be away from me, and it sucks. It's not a good feeling knowing that I want to go, and then it technically is hurting her because she just wants to be with me.
Right. And how did you saying that to her? How did she take it? What did she say exactly?
She didn't receive it too well. She was it was like, I'm voicing how temporary the situation is, how temporary overseas basketball is. It's not, you can't play basketball your whole life.
Right.
And the guys that have been blessed to play it, they have a different situation where they have their family now with them, wherever the case may be. But in her case, she thinks that, me leaving for 5 months or 6 months at a time is like, it's too much uncertainty. And she values having a plan. She values having a blueprint. She wants to follow her blueprint. She gets upset when she doesn't achieve the goals that she set. And I'm like on the other side, where I just let God play it out. And I know He has the best interest for me, because I've been doing everything according to Him in the first place. I'm not looking to look left or right. And when it comes to trying to find where I should be at in life, it's easier to look up and ask Him versus like trying to figure out, is this the right decision for me? I think it is. And then she likes control. And when things don't go in her way, it is scary. And me, I'm like, if things don't go my way, it could be worse. So like, she's like, this could be better, and I'm like, it could be worse.
Right. So what I'm getting out of this basically is, Ashley wants a more physical, hands-on, face-to-face, every day. I see my boyfriend, my significant other. Where you is like, where you are, you're built on faith. Whatever's meant for you will be meant for you, and you just hope that she supports it. basically. You know, if you feel like if basketball's for you, that you feel like you should get the support from her that you would expect, because you would do the same for her. Is what it looks like. Because what you want from Ashley is what you would do for her if it was reversed. Is that what I'm getting from this?
Exactly.
Okay. And so I remember going back in the last session when we were talking about what is best for Rico.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because ultimately this whole process of this session is doing what's best for Rico. You know, yes, you have your family, you do have your school, you do have basketball, you do have your significant other, but we want to do what's best for you, ultimately, because, you know, you have to live this life of yours. And yes, you have your people as far as role players, such as your girlfriend, who plays a significant role, but, you know, you live this life. This is we're trying to find what's vital for Rico. So with that being said, you know, what do you see yourself doing? Like, what is if you were to plan out what you did after graduation, what would it be? What would be your plan after graduation? What do you see yourself doing?
Well, I like what I do. I'm a coach, and after graduation, I would go back home and I could have the opportunity to be with Ashley from there on out. If I graduate, I can stay here and be with her, but if I go home, then I would have to wait for her, and then, like, that's cool, I can do that. Or I would just move in with her here, but ultimately, if it was to be what Rico wants, I would want one more opportunity to play basketball and pursue it. And the reason why I say one more opportunity is because playing basketball in college was cool, but then you have your significant other who's there with you, and she knows, like, she adjusted to the basketball college life very well. It sucked, but she adjusted to it. But now it's like, now you add in a time difference. Now you add in just another country. Then you add in distance, and it's like, what's best for the relationship? Right. And that's where I get kind of in a loop, because after graduation, like, I didn't mind coaching, so I could still be around basketball. It's just, I think I would be happy being with her as well, versus like pursuing basketball, going overseas. And then, I mean, a lot of people, when they go overseas, they don't really like overseas because it's a different culture, and they don't know how to entertain themselves. Me, I can entertain myself and not have that problem. However, I would still want my significant other right next to me. And that's why it plays a significant role. That's why I was like trying to figure out, if I had not met her, where would I be at?
Right.
Because if the opportunity presented itself to go overseas after graduation, I probably would go, based on I would have no reason to not go.
Right.
But I still wouldn't want to go, if that makes sense. Like, nobody really wants to go overseas.
Rewrite that for me. You kind of like did a double whammy.
So I wouldn't, if I had the opportunity to go without Ashley, and let's say she did not exist, I would probably go, but I still would not want to go, because nobody really wants to go overseas unless there's a lot of money. And nowadays, they want the best player for the lowest amount of money, and I don't feel like that would fulfill my happiness. I'd rather be happy and making a decent amount of money than be unhappy, uncomfortable, and possibly making lower than what I would make if I was just chilling.
Right. So what I'm getting out of this, basically what you're saying is, as far as your career, what you want to do, you know, you love basketball, but on the downside of it, you have to go overseas, and you might not get that financial support or financial assistance that you think you should get.
Yeah.
And as much as you love it, you feel like you're not going to get that financial support that you think you should.
Yeah. And we had an argument in the car where she felt like it's not always about the money. And I was like, you're right, but this would be the reason why I'm pursuing basketball, is for the money. And if the money's not good, then I don't want to go. The only difference with basketball is if the money's not good right away, it's based on your play. It's based solely on you, what you do. And in my case, I'd rather be cool sitting at home. I could play basketball in my leisure time and still make a good amount of money at work and still have an opportunity to see my significant other.
Right.
Let's say she wasn't here. I could still do the same thing. There would just be no significant other. I would be focusing on work and playing basketball in my leisure time. Probably pick up another hobby. I don't know. But even then, like, if she's going to be involved, it makes it that much more of a reason to stay. Because all the guys that I talk to overseas, they're not living it up.
Right.
Like, they might enjoy it, but it's not to the point where they're like making money from it to say, hey, this is what I want to do. They're doing it because they get to play basketball. They're doing what they love versus like coming over here to the States and working behind an office that's from 9 to 5, not being happy. Me, I'm happy just being able to use my degree, which was in communications, talking to people, whatever the case may be, coaching, like I said.
So you kind of went to my next question. I was going to ask you, you know, tell me what life looks like with Ashley and tell me what it would look like without Ashley. As far as relationship with your family, relationship as far as school and with basketball. Tell me what that look like.
Tell you what life looks like without Ashley first.
Yeah, Ashley.
Because I was born and, well, post-graduation? Okay. Well, I don't know. It never happened yet. But life without Ashley post-graduation would probably be with or without basketball as well.
Basketball's still there, just not Ashley.
I would probably force myself to go to the gym because there is nothing else to do. So, unless I had a job, excuse me, if I had a job, then let's say I got my dream job, which would be to work for CNN as a camera operator and then a camera editor. So, being that I have my degree in communications and some experience with media production, that's cool. That's cool to me. That's a cool job. Like, if they're paying well, I'm cool with that because that's you're traveling.
Is it something that you're interested in?
I've always been interested in media production.
Okay. More interested in it than basketball?
See, right now basketball feels like a job. So it's not as fun as it would be if it wasn't. That means it's more stressful. That means it takes a lot more now to get out of bed and to do what I used to love versus waking up and just going out on the court and playing. That's fun to me.
Right.
The preparation behind it is not. So that's why I felt like maybe this isn't for me. And I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting right now. You seem like you love it. It's just as far as the things that come with it. It's not so much fun with you.
Yeah, I do have a bad habit though. I don't want laziness to be the reason why I so-called hate it.
Right.
Versus having an actual excuse, which would be me pursuing something else because I'm better at something else, and I don't want to use Ashley as an excuse for me not to go play, because then you have regrets like, well, if I didn't meet her, then I would have been playing overseas. Right. And I don't want that at all either. That's why I want to try it just to say, okay, I did it, and so be it. That was it. But like, if she wasn't here, then like I said, I would be going home, working out, hoping to get a job to play basketball. I know we talked about that last session as far as my opportunity, but when you add Ashley into the mix, then you get more of a, okay, well, everybody would like to be in a relationship that's stable and moving on to the next stages in your life now that you've graduated.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is that she's still gonna graduate 1 year behind me. So I'm gonna be out here I'll be in the real world while she's still in school.
Do you think that, do you think that's going to be causing an issue between you and Ashley, the fact that you're going to be in the real world as far as bills, more responsibilities, where, Ashley's still going to be a college student, where it's kind of like more watered down as far as
her responsibilities, what she's supposed to do.
Do you think it's going to cause an issue between you guys, or?
I think it will, because she's going to want to see me more, and unless I have to make this decision quick. If I don't figure out what I'm going to do money-wise, she won't be seeing me based on the fact that it's going to take some money to come see her. Mm-hmm. Now, if I played overseas, then I would have an excuse saying, like, look, I'm in season. If you want to come out here, you can. Mm-hmm. And then I'll probably be getting paid, so then I can fly her out.
Right.
Or I can fly to come see her after the season. I just don't think that it's a grind. I think it's a grind. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's the whole thing. I know too many people that go overseas and 3 years later, they're still there, not making a killing. Mm-hmm. Only reason why they're out there is because you get paid to play, food for free, mm-hmm. housing for free, so you don't really pay for anything. But you're not really going over there like and saving money to right. where you're coming back with like a lot of money mm-hmm. to provide for your family if you have one.
Right.
Like that's why I'm like, all right, I don't know. This might not be for me.
Right.
I think there's other avenues in life that can provide me with the money foundation, the money foundation that I want to be financially stable. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm looking for. I just want to be financially stable. I don't want to be in debt. I don't want the generational curse of putting things in my kids' names because mm-hmm. we couldn't afford it and we wanted to get cable on, so we put it in my kids' names.
Right.
Like, being in debt's not fun. So
it seems like that you're starting to eliminate certain options for yourself as far as when you graduate. And when I mean options, I mean is when I said what's best for Rico, you're starting to realize that certain things are just not as important to you anymore. And certain things are more important to you. It seems like Ashley's way more important than basketball. It seems like financial support is more important than basketball. So it seems like you're kind of putting basketball on the back end as far as what's more important to you. And which is not, and I understand you love basketball, but I feel like you're starting to weed out what's more important to you as you start realizing you're about to graduate soon.
Yeah, so then we got the whole issue of me telling my parents, like, hey, look, basketball is not going to turn us into a millionaire. Mm-hmm. It's not. And they also have been the ones that's been pressuring basketball mm-hmm. to where it's like they want me to look at life without Ashley first because they don't want me to be distracted. Let's say, every girl or every parent doesn't want their kid to be distracted, so mm-hmm. don't let this girl come along and stray you off path to where if she wasn't here, you would probably be working out. You get distracted by a girl, and not trying to have that at all.
Mm-hmm. So what does the conversation look like? Let's just say that you were to decide to stay in the States, work, and wait on Ashley. What would that conversation be like with your parents? To tell them that, right now overseas is just not an option for me because...
They probably would say, I'm making a decision that I'll regret later. They're going to say, I don't know what's best for me based on I'm just now getting out of college and they've already done this. They're going to say, you don't want to struggle like we did, this and that. They believe in me though, and that's because of my talents in basketball. So they just want to see me push myself to the limit. And
do you feel like you have pushed yourself to the limit though? To where you feel like this is just your end? Like this is, you're fine with just that? Only the person knows when that's their limit, you know? Not the parent, not the girlfriend, but that person, which is you, which is Rico.
I don't think so. I don't think I have. I think... But that's my mindset, too. Like, I always feel like I can keep going. I can push myself even harder, even though I'm actually, like, when it came to school, I was like, let's say I got all B's the first semester. I was like, okay, well, am I really pushing myself? I don't know. Next semester, I got majority B's and a couple of A's. Then got into my sophomore year. I was like, all right, like, what's going on? Like, I can do much better than what I'm doing. And I'm always going to do that because I'm a perfectionist. And I think that is why, that's why I'm, like, in this limbo of what's best for me, because being a perfectionist, you don't like making mistakes.
Right.
And at this point in my life, the wrong step could be a mistake.
Right.
That is consequential to my future. And that's why it's confusing. That's why it's a little hard. Then you throw in the fact that you have a significant other, so it's like, well, it's not going to be that bad if I make the wrong mistake, because I still have, you know, my significant other. But when you take her out of the equation, I would still tell you, like, I don't know. I would still tell you that if basketball stopped today and I was to pursue something, I would be okay with the results because basketball got me here. Basketball got me my college education. And anything else after that is a bonus. I've been blessed with the opportunity to come into college for free, playing basketball.
So what it seems like, this is your limit. This is what it seems like to me. But you basically just said it, you know, you accomplish everything you need to accomplish with basketball. Anything else would be just a bonus.
Yeah.
Everything would be just like a extra credit. Like, oh wow, it's still pushing me to something that I thought, you know.
Yeah, but it's funny because the thing that we heard in church today was, you know how many people quit when they're right there at the door. They just don't know it. So that kind of stuck with me too, because I was like, is this talking to me about basketball? Like, how close am I to, let's say, being a professional?
Right.
The door is right there. How close am I? I don't know. Because I'm like about to turn around because I don't think that this is the path that I should be taking.
Right.
Or there's an alternative opportunity opening up that has nothing to do with basketball.
Right.
Regardless of how close I was. So it gets very confusing.
And let's say that you were to become professional or overseas, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, you would love to do it. It'd be a great opportunity for you because you love it, but you still have that downside to what you're worried about is the financial part of it.
Yeah.
You know?
This is not even with Ashley involved. Like,
right.
The whole financial thing. Like, I don't think mentally I could be there to sit there. Like, the game is changing, so I don't think I could physically be there to play great 2 seasons and still come up short or have money just to get by. Like, it's cool spending money. They're making sure that we survive by having food and housing over our heads, but if the money's not mouth-watering, I don't want to go.
Right.
Like, I really don't, because the amount of stress, the amount of work, preparation that it takes for your body to go through, I want to be able to walk when I'm 60 with my children versus I played basketball a long time and I hurt myself, or my knees don't work like they used to because I wanted to pursue basketball. Like, if I go, like, people that go overseas, they go overseas to really have fun.
Right.
Because it allows them to come back and be like, okay, I'm ready to start a family. I'm ready to start my life. And what do you get to put on your resume? I played overseas.
Right.
Played overseas.
Right.
It's not like I played overseas and I'm coming back with $2 million. Like, you're not going overseas and making bank.
Right.
And even then, like, I know too many people that had the opportunity to go back overseas, but because they wanted less money, they're like, nah, like it's not worth it.
So you kind of like I said, it seems like you're slowly but surely easing yourself out of the thought, even though it'll be a great opportunity for you. But it seems like you're definitely easing out of that thought, not only because of Ashley, but she has something to do with it, but for some fact you want to be financial, you want to be comfortable. You don't want to be content. You don't want to be living day by day is what I'm getting from that. What I'm getting from this whole conversation, this whole session.
I mean, being overseas is cool. Like if Ashley was overseas with me, then it's like not as bad. I'm not as lonely in a sense. I'm not gonna say that because I don't. The only time I was lonely was when I was in college at a different school, and I had no family and no friends. But I had teammates, but still. In this case, it actually happened to go overseas with me. It would change the dynamics because it's like now I don't got no reason to leave.
Right.
Versus me being there, I'm like, all right, like just do what I got to do to get out of here.
Right.
So, like I said, the money is not crazy, not mouth-watering, or the money I've been exposed to overseas. Ultimately, this is financial reasons to go. That's why I'm like, I could have just stayed here, start working on my retirement, work on my 401k, start working on my just resume, career, and set myself up so that I can just continue to climb the ladder of financial status, regardless of how hard it is, because it's either going to be hard in basketball, it's going to be hard in real life.
Right.
Like,
which one do you want to choose? Yeah,
and that's where I'm coming to a hard time trying to figure that out. Because you said it to my parents, and they're like, wouldn't you rather go hard doing something you love for less amount of time? Like, you only would practice for 3 hours, and then you have the rest of the day off? When it's like, no, not really. You practice for 3 hours, then you got to go get treatment for 2 hours. Then you got to go back in the gym to make sure you're sharp and doing everything you want to do. So basketball really is more than a 9 to 5 if you want to be prepared to make money. And it's not just money that comes with that. You got to prepare every single day. There's no days off with basketball. And that's the downfall. That's where it's like, wait, hold on. Now I'm talking myself into realizing maybe this is not the best idea.
Right.
Because there is no down time. There is no time to just relax.
Right.
And I was blessed with the opportunity to go and try some overseas stuff just because of who my coach knows. And even then I was just like, I'm tired.
Tell me how that went for you. Tell me how that experience went for you. I never knew that.
Well, it was cool. It was a training camp style where it was kind of like, we had, this was actually in Virginia, but it was only for the weekend. And they set it up to where it was like a bunch of guys played on the tournament. My team actually won, now I think about it. But it was like 7 guys on each team. And it was tournament style. We played 2 halves. And even then, it was just like a whole bunch of guys playing basketball just to impress 3 college coaches or 3 overseas coaches. And even then, it was like I said, they're not paying mouth-watering numbers. So, but we're beating each other up, and we're there for 3 days. And I'm like, okay, let's go back, just because I want to be sharp for these coaches. And I was tired. In 3 days, we played a lot of basketball. In 3 days, I was cramping up. In 3 days, my body was hurting. I don't think I touched the basketball for a whole week after that weekend, because I was like, that was at least 2 weeks worth of basketball really in 3 days. Right. It was really intense. We did training sessions in the morning. Then we had lunch. Then we came back and we did defensive stuff. Then we had the games. And like I said, it was guys from all over the place looking to just get a spot on those teams for those coaches. And it's probably a spot or 2 spots. Mm-hmm. And you got 7 teams of 7. Like,
and how was your communication with Ashley between those 3 days? How was that?
I mean, it was moderate.
Mm-hmm.
I was still in the United States, so it wasn't like we were just offbeat. And that's the whole thing with her. She's like more so scared of what's the communication going to be like once I leave. Mm-hmm. Like her idea, like I said earlier, as far as her goals and like wanting her goals to connect, if they don't match, she gets worried because she doesn't have control over it.
Right.
When I was in Virginia, it was understood that I was coming back, so it was like not too bad.
Right.
And I was coming back in less amount of time, and we were on the same time frame. Versus me being in Guatemala, mm-hmm. and now the time difference is 13 hours, so where it's dark here and it's light there, and we're trying to figure out how our schedules work together. Like that's her only issue with the overseas stuff,
okay.
And then not seeing me more than once. But even then, like I said, the overseas opportunity was just going to be a temporary decision mm-hmm. to make some money, and like. Now when I look at it, the amount of money involved, this is the whole thing. Is it worth it? Like,
right.
That's it. Not even thinking about Ashley anymore. It's just, is this what I want to do?
Right.
And I'm not sure. The only reason why I want to do it is because I want to be able to say I did it.
Right.
Versus being like, oh, I made a lot of money playing over, because I know that's not what's going to come with it.
Right.
That's it. That's my only reason why I'm like stuck. Like, is it worth it even to go?
Right.
And I don't know.
Okay. Well, session is about to wind down a little bit. During this time, when we see you next time, I want you to think about, like I said, the whole purpose of this is I'm an advocate for Rico. I want what's best for Rico. During this time, I want you to focus on your future after graduation. I want you to focus on what would life be without basketball, and what would it be like without Ashley? Okay?
Okay.
I want you to cut those 2 out, and I want you to see what it look like. Okay? Because if you didn't, I want to see what that looks like. I want to see what you have to say as far as what it look like without Ashley, and what it look like without basketball. So you paint 2 different pictures. You paint a life with Ashley and no basketball, and you're painting a life with basketball and no Ashley. And I want you to tell me, give me a vivid picture about those 2, okay?
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
See you next session.